For the last few lessons, if not for more, you've run across problems that look like this. And they've asked you, I don't know, to simplify it or to do the problem or to do whatever there. I guess what you have to see is that in fractions, when you have the same factors on top and bottom, you can cross them off one for one. You can cross off one for one. I'll let you write that and then we'll talk a little bit about this. We will talk just a little bit about that. What this means is simply this, okay? That if you see the same numbers on top as on bottom, you can just do this. Rather than multiplying this all out, which would give you 4 times 5 is 20 times 3, is 60 over 4 times 3, which is 12, and then doing that division problem, and 60 divided by 12 is what? Anybody? 5. Rather than going through all of that work, okay, what you can do is this. If there's a 2 on top and a 2 on bottom, you can completely make those go away, one for one. So there's 1, 2 here that crosses off with 1, 2 there. There is a second 2 that crosses off with the second 2. And then there's a 1, 3 that crosses off with 1, 3 there. There's no 5s on the bottom, so the 5 has to stay. When everything crosses off, you're left with a 1, by the way. Okay? And you end up with 5 over 1, but that is the same thing as 5. Really what you're doing is you're reducing before you multiply. Because if I had 60 over 12, take a look at this. If I reduce both top and bottom by 2, which means I divide both top and bottom by 2, I get 30 over 6. Well, then I can reduce it by another 2 and get 15 over 3. And then I can reduce it by another 3 and get my same 5 over 1. But rather than going through that whole long process, you can just, if you see something factored out like this, cross off 1 for 1, till you're left with nothing left to cross off. You're going to say, hey, show me another example of that. Well, let's take a look at this one. 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5 over 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 times 5. 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. Something there? Another 5, there it is. Okay, but remember it's just 1 for 1. You can only do 1 on top with 1 on the bottom. Charlie, you getting all this down? You do have it down? If I look at your book, do you have it all written down? Do you have the last problem written down? Is that because you like focus more over there than at the board? Oh, I think maybe you need to put you maybe somewhere closer to the yes, no? I'm just checking. I want to make sure. You don't want to miss out on this. They paid me big money, Charlie, to make sure you understand this. Big money. So here's the deal with this. If there's a 2 on top and a 2 on bottom, 1 for 1, you can cross it off. This crosses off with that. This 2, there's no other 2, another second 2 on the bottom, so it has to stay. Okay? There's a 3 on top that crosses off with a 3 on the bottom. A second 3 on top with a second 3 on the bottom. 1, 5 with 1, 5. Nothing else crosses off, so you're left with a 2 left on top and a 5 left on bottom. If there would have been another number left up here, let's say there was another 5 up here, then you would have remultiplied this 2 times the 5 and it would have been 10. Okay, but there wasn't, and there's not for right now, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Okay, one more maybe. How about this one? 2 times 2 times 5. Something just kind of goofy with the board today. Over 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Now this one's going to be just a little bit different here. What do we got that crosses off, Josh?
The two, there's 2 2s,
So they both cross off,
and then 2 5s.
and then 2 5s. Now here's kind of a special case. Remember, something I catch that. Okay, when everything crosses off like it did on top here, okay, it doesn't just completely go away. This 3 has to stay on the bottom, and you need to put a 1 on the top. So that all reduces down to 1/3, not just something over a 3. Okay? Issues, problems, concerns? Perfect. Now, still under that same thing. Just wait a second. We gotta stop this.